Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 2025 In Defense of Animals Watch Party. We're going to review 2025. This is our year in review. You have me, Fleur Dawes. I do the communications at In Defense of Animals, and Mary, who is on our development team. Hi, Mary.
Hello, thank you so much for being here.
And we also have my colleague Bob on the chat. So the chat is open. If you're joining us from Zoom, please leave your questions, introduce yourself, tell us where you're joining from. And as a bonus, I would love it if you would tell us what was your favorite moment of 2025. And here we go. I'm going to share my screen and start us off with our I'm going to start us off with a video because that's what we're all here for, right? uh, okay. All right, you've got a sneak peek at our slide deck there. So here we go. Beep. Oh, sorry, I just realized I need to share with sound. Excuse my technical glitch. Here we go.
None of this would have been possible without you. And together, we're just getting louder, stronger, and more unstoppable. I can't wait to see what we can achieve together next year.
So there we go. I hope you enjoyed some of that. And it took us a little while. Like I said, there have been so many amazing things that happened this year. So it was really tough to decide what gets to be put in a short video like that. But thank you very much for making all of this possible. That's the really the if there's one thing that you take away from this, it is that you make all of these victories possible. So thank you for being part of our community. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for supporting In Defense of Animals in whatever way you do, whether that's through signing our alerts, whether it's through volunteering, whether it's through monthly giving, whether it's through making a gift in your will. All of that makes a huge difference and makes all of this possible. So let's dig in a little bit more to some of those victories. And actually, this hasn't been entirely an easy year. I don't know if that resonates with you, but certainly if you've been living in Los Angeles or Jamaica or the Philippines, it's not been easy at all. So I just want to take a moment to honor some of the lives that we've lost. Um, so Wallace Annenberg on the right there, an absolutely amazing person who has you'll know that maybe you were one of the people who gave and signed our alerts to support the largest wildlife crossing in the US, the Wallace Annenberg Wildlife Crossing. Sadly, we lost Wallace Annenberg, the woman who gave so much money to make that possible this year. We also lost, of course, the wonderful Dr. Jane Goodall, who had done so much for not just chimpanzees, but all kinds of animals, and was a friend of our founder, Dr. Elliot Katz. We very sad that now they're both no longer with us, but they're certainly here in spirit, and we're carrying on their good work every day. And of course, Arthur Simoneau, who is has been our campaigns director, Lisa Levenson's partner, an amazing man who had a deep respect for animals and the environment. And sadly, he lost his life in the Los Angeles fires. So it's been a tough year, and we've lost some great people, but we will continue on in their memory. And I think that they would be very pleased to know that we are doing that. So, again, thank you for making it possible. And let's go forward and see what kind of things we have achieved in 2025. So, these are two things that are very dear to my heart. Go ahead.
The
Go ahead,
slides need to
Mary.
be shared again.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize I wasn't sharing my screen. Let's see. Okay, so let me just show those three wonderful people who I was just talking about. We have Wallace Annenberg here, Dr. Jane Goodall, and Arthur Simoneau. So rest in power, our friends. We will carry on with your great spirit and determination. So let's get to the nice things. So from coastal California to rural Mongolia, and I'm not kidding. We really work in all of these locations and many between. So you were the ones who were there making a difference for those animals. So of course, I think probably I'm guessing some of you will have some of the same favorites as I do, but one of my big favorites is, of course, the Thule elk campaign. We reference coastal California because of the Thule elk. They have finally, after years of campaigning, been freed from their prison where they were kept on the end of the peninsula in a national park. Unfortunately, because of dairy and beef farming, and subsidized all by the public. So I think that's really a microcosm of so many of our campaigns come back down to that issue. You can see there there's we've got whale there, we've got a wolf there, we've got a mink there, or a marten, I think.
Blackfoot ferret.
A Blackfoot ferret. Thank you very much.
I love mustelids.
All of these animals won because of you, and are now in these cases thriving because of what you've done. So, and in Mongolia there, so those sweet dogs, actually, do you know what? I believe that is a picture from Turkey, where we are also working, so also known as, or formerly known as Turkey. We are rescuing, unfortunately, homeless animals in places like Turkey and Morocco. Are being gunned down. They are being poisoned. They are being beaten on the streets. And compassionate people who we work with have been criminalized. So they are not allowed to rescue animals there anymore in certain cases. They are not allowed to provide veterinary care for them in certain cases. So we are doing everything in our power to support these groups on the ground. We are In Defense of Animals is unique in that it not only does advocacy, we also do rescue as well. So we are really a 360-degree organization doing like working on every level. So that's what one of the things I love about working in defense of animals. Mary, do you have something to say about a black-footed ferret?
I love them. They're adorable. The mustelids are the cutest. But I did want to add that the Thule elk were behind that fence for 46 years. That's 46 seasons of drought that they had to endure. And with it finally being dismantled, they just flooded further south. And that is so wonderful to me that we achieved that after 46 years of them being, oh, it's crazy. But
You are so right. And you know what? I'm so glad you kind of focused on that because sad, you know what? The Thule elk were the first animals I saw when I came over to California 10 years ago. And I was desperate to see them. And they are so iconic. And I could not believe to learn that they were being, treated in this way and being forced to live on this kind of very barren and scrappy bit of land that really didn't have any water or good forage for them, and all of the good stuff had been privileged, outside the fence in a national park in California, a place that I came because I knew that it was progressive and cared about animals and did the right thing for animals. And when I first started talking about it to my neighbors and friends, they didn't know anything. They maybe knew about the Thule elk, but they had no idea that there was any problem.
Mhm.
So, In Defense of Animals was one of the first organizations championing that whole thing. So you can't go from 0 to 100. You have to educate people first. There is a problem here. Because if they don't know there's a problem, no one's going to take action on it. So, we really had a tough fight on our hands for a long time. We were fighting in city halls. We were taking it to our representatives. It was a constant effort, and it was a real big community effort. I know a lot of you who will be joining today will be joining from Marin County, surrounding Bay Area. You guys did such a phenomenal job of just keeping up the pressure and using your talents. So I want to say, if you are on this call today and you want to make a difference for animals, we are doing that all the time. Whatever animal you care about, if it's a local issue, an international issue, whatever skills you have to bring, please send us a message. Bob will, I'm sure, write a note in the chat. You can email us, and we would love to hear from you because together we are stronger and we achieve real change. Okay, I'm going to continue on. So here are some of the key victories this year. So again, we've got just talked about the Thule elk. Here we have two new laws in Florida. Absolutely thrilled that abandoning animals during disasters and severe abuse of animals. This poor dog here on the right was adopted and then mutilated just a few days later.
I think
Now
it was less than a single day later. It was just he was found. It was very sad, but both of those two instances did create those two laws, so they have the legacy now at least.
That's absolutely right. And it's, you know, you have made that happen again by signing our alerts, by taking action. You are pressuring change. And when we have strong laws on the books, we can deter crime. And when it does happen, we can hold people accountable. And it really raises the profile of animals because if people think that they can get away with a slap on the wrist for doing something bad to an animal, it diminishes all of animals' worth to us. So these things are really important. Our Justice for Animals alerts, we know that you love us doing them. We try to do as many as we can. It keeps us very, very busy. And I just heard, this is hot off the press, that we've just had another victory, another strong prosecution today. Carmelo Roberts, who you might recall, who horribly hurt a cat and killed them, who escaped from their own apartment. They have got jail time. So again, thanks to you for making us enabling us to follow up these cases. All right. And so here we have, I believe, one of the Louisville Zoo elephants this year. This is really a flagship campaign for In Defense of Animals. We have been working to free elephants for 20 years now. For I'm working on something which you will, if you're familiar with In Defense of Animals, you will know it comes out every January. It's our 10 worst zoos for elephants, and that that list, that project, it is highly anticipated. Its release every year, and we through doing that, we are pressuring zoos into making real change. So these elephants, the Louisville Zoo, was listed on the 10 worst zoos for elephants for a few years, and then those elephants have now made it to sanctuary. The zoo did the right thing. Elephants are not suited for captivity. They are absolutely not suited for captivity. They're not suited for the climate, and they don't belong in zoos. So we are thrilled and delighted that Louisville Zoo is leading the way. And for a second year in a row, we were able to make a positive award on our 10 worst zoos for elephants. Over there on the right, we have a lovely kitty, and I'm thrilled to say that California passed a declawing ban, and this is something that we've been working on for a long time and supporting for a long time. Probably you've signed more than one alert and contacted your representatives about it more than once. Thank you for doing so. Often bills don't pass the first time, but we keep up the pressure. And we keep up the pressure until they're passed in one location. And then guess what? We go and do it again in another location. And these laws make a real difference for animals on the ground. So thank you for that, ending painful mutilations for cats.
Just to add about
Add to
the
that, Mary?
elephants.
Yes.
Yeah, just to add about the elephants. It is our flagship campaign. We've been working on it for a long time, and every year that 10 worst zoos list comes out, and it gets a lot of press that goes out on medias, and the zoos that are named get a hard hit, you know. It does a lot. And I want to say that when we're talking about zoos, captivity, people can say all sorts of things about like, oh, it's they get the best vet care, or they, all these good things about like it being okay to hold an animal in captivity. And I just get this same feeling that if we only care about their physical health and not the fact that they are a living being who is sentient and desires things like family and community and big open spaces in some animals' cases, like elephants, um, it's like an incomplete picture when they're only looking at the veterinary care. You know what I mean? So it's a matter of looking at the whole creature, the whole being as a sentient being, and understanding that it needs to be a wide open space that they get into, right? Um, just the captivity, it'll never work. Not just for elephants, but I think for a lot of animals.
Absolutely, Mary. Yeah, couldn't say it better myself. Captivity kills. It really
It
does.
does.
And that's one of the wonderful things about the 10 Worst Zoos for Elephants is every year we pick a different topic and we focus on something. So, whatever it is, whatever concerns you might have or think, oh, I'm not feeling quite right about that, I'm going to look into it. We likely have a very deep, deep resource that you can learn about just that one aspect. So, I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you in 2026. So let's go on. Thule elk. We've spoken about the wonderful, wonderful victory of the Thule elk. I gotta say, I almost fell off my chair when the park service. I mean, it was quite contentious. The park service. I'm just so grateful that they acted really quickly and cut a section of the fence before a lawsuit fell. And so there's still, I think, only a quarter mile of the fence is cut, but it's been enough. It's enough. That small gap was enough for all of the elk to be moving freely. No longer are we seeing a mom on one side, a baby on the other, like separation. We're not, it's a very been a very stark contrast. So they are now doing super well. If they have a need to move over to the other side, they need forage or water, they can go. It's wonderful. So thank you for making that possible. That is truly your victory. So I hope you're feeling extra good about that. And of course, they're one of the most festive animals you could hope for at the end of the year. So
Totally. Just to add to the Thule
yeah,
elk,
please.
because I love that we got to the point where there were 14 dairy slash beef ranches, and 12 of them agreed to leave after I think it was they were offered by a nonprofit a large sum again to leave. Um, so 12 of them are leaving, and there's only two remaining behind. So we're going to keep advocating, but it's not nearly as yeah, two remaining ranches. Uh, but it's not nearly as life-threatening as it was before. Now it's more like, okay, let's finish the job. This is a national park. This isn't a place for ranching, you know. So but it doesn't have the same life and death that it had before, right?
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yes, absolutely. And fences don't belong in a national park. Like, even as, just let's talk about humans for a second. Um, I don't want to go to a national park and be like, face all this like razor wire or barbed wire. Like that's I want to be able to enjoy the whole park, and I want to see animals able to enjoy the whole habitat, not be fenced off from it. So yeah, this is a huge win, and it's the way it should be. And we're very glad that you believe that too, and you enabled us to fight for that. And you joined us in our fight for that. We were out there a lot. Yeah, we had many, many eye-catching demonstrations and advocacy events. So thank you for joining us with that. It's been a long ride and a lot of effort, but it's been effective, and that's what matters. Okay, elephant freedom. Yes, we've talked about Mickey and Punch. We couldn't be happier for them. So, unfortunately, elephants, as we've said, die in zoos much earlier than in the wild, even though they have access to veterinary care. And now they will really, truly be able to start living like elephants. So, in a sanctuary, they will get choices. They get to choose who they interact with. They're not squeezed into a tiny space. And it's the equivalent of living in your bathroom with, in some cases, like a bunch of strangers. So that's what they're being forced into in zoos. But in the sanctuary, they've got so much more space. It's so much better for them. Movement is important for all of us, and it really makes a huge difference to their health and well-being. So happily ever after, Miki and Punch, enjoy it. You
I
deserve
do
it.
believe they went to the sanctuary in Tennessee, correct?
Yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yes,
I believe it's
and
called the Elephant Sanctuary, I think.
yes,
Uh,
uh,
Like that's the
doesn't.
title, but
And yes, there's many elephants who've been retired from zoos there, and yeah, we are just delighted for them. Really
there's
delighted.
also Osh. Osh retired there from Oakland Zoo, correct?
That is
That
right.
happened
So
this past year, I think, or was it 24?
it was 2024, I
That's what it
believe.
was.
So
So two
yeah,
years in a row of
2 years in a row.
succeed.
2 years in a row, we've been celebrating elephants going to sanctuary from zoos. And the reason that Oakland Zoo said that they were retiring Osh was they said that there's simply they simply can't provide for his needs. And they had one of the largest enclosures in all of the US. So I hope that if you're doubting, whether elephants belong in zoos or not, I hope that speaks to you. Because if the best enclosure in the best zoo enclosure for elephants in the US, if they say that they can't serve an elephant, then no one can. So here we go. All right, we've spoken a bit about declawing and in California, and we've talked about Dexter's Law and Trooper's Law in Florida a bit, so I'm going to skip over those and talk about some other fun stuff that we've been doing. So Uh, Here's a new character. I don't know if you've seen our big friendly goose. So we've been taking our big friendly goose on tour. Unfortunately, probably you've been telling us about um, geese in your area who it's really tragic, but they are being gassed to death. Um, People come along and they complain about them. They say, "Oh, they're pooping everywhere, and don't want to get poop on my shoes." And then there's a roundup, and it's terribly, it happens during their molting season. So they wait until the geese cannot fly away. They cannot defend themselves. They're also nursing their young at the time. So this all happens in front of the babies, and they gather them up and they either wring their necks or they put them in a gas chamber. And because geese can fly at high altitudes, it takes them a long time to die. It's very horrible. But I'm delighted to say that we are really making strides in this campaign. So our National Goose Coalition has been going from strength to strength. And we managed to force Michigan to cancel its goose gassing plan. So you literally saved that big family of geese, the gaggle of geese in Michigan. Michiganders are happier for your advocacy. You enabled us to do that. You enabled us to put experts in touch with decision makers. You enabled us to send thousands of emails to decision makers and flood them and ask them to do the right thing. So, and again, in Foster City, in the Bay Area, they finally adopted a coexistence policy. We were arm wrestling with them for this for a few years, and then they finally conceded this year. So we are delighted, and we hope that they now have this policy, so they can't go back on it, at least for a while. So we're very pleased with that. And again, you made it possible, protecting families of geese from violence and promoting coexistence. Mary, do you have anything to say about geese?
I just love this campaign. I think it's great to take care of our waterfowl. There's such a like I have a small inlet near my house, and I love walking past it and seeing the geese. And sometimes there's a heron. That's like one of my favorite things, you know? There's such an iconic, beautiful feature to your surrounding wild spaces. Like you live, you know, in the area where you have we have a fox that comes by, we have a tomcat that wants by, you know, and they're all part of the community. They're all part of this. And so this is a part of a way that we can get our communities together. So yeah, if in the chat I did see someone saying, you know, if you're having that kind of problem, if you think the geese are in trouble near you, you can email us and we'll do our best to help you out and do the same thing that we did at Foster City.
Here, here. Well said, Mary. Yeah, they are amazing animals. All animals, of course, deserve protections, and we're very glad that you enable us to speak for the geese. You put us in front of the decision makers and make a difference for them. Again, this is a kind of similar situation, I guess, in San Francisco Zoo. So, you would think that San Francisco, a large metropolitan city, would have a fairly decent zoo. Unfortunately, that's not the case. We have a long history with the San Francisco Zoo. We were actually responsible for sending their elephants to sanctuary and closing their exhibit. They were among the first of 40 elephant exhibits, more than 40 elephant exhibits we have been part of closing down. So that is thanks to you. 40 exhibits, 40 zoos have said, okay, no more elephants. And we are incredibly proud of that. And now bringing it forward, because that was more than 10 years ago, actually, that they closed down their elephant exhibit and sent them to a sanctuary. We have toppled an unfit director. So this is the former director you see here, Tanya. She was not qualified for the job, and unfortunately, the animals have been really, really suffering at this zoo. It came onto our radar when there were plans to bring giant pandas from China to the zoo. And we were asked by locals to get involved because you might recall that we successfully advocated for Yaya and Lele in the Memphis
Memphis.
Zoo. Thank you very much. I was going to say Michigan then. I've been working on some Michigan things this morning. The Memphis Zoo, and so we got called in to help with the San Francisco Zoo. We took a look at it and we're like, wait a second, this goes way deeper than just giant pandas. And in fact, they have just, I mean, you would not believe. I hope that you've taken part in our many alerts for the San Francisco Zoo. We are delighted that Tanya Peterson was forced to step down this year, and that is thanks to pressure from you. We have been speaking with Mayor Lurie, putting pressure on him, and before that with Mayor Breed. And they are realizing that there's something terribly wrong here, working with the San Francisco Chronicle to expose what's going on and these very, very archaic and poor conditions for the animals. So we have launched a campaign to turn it into an eco park. So thank you already if you've signed that alert. We're delighted to turn this from a really terrible place for animals into a place that is focused on rescue of local animals. What's needed for animals? It's rescue, it's sanctuary, it's natural habitats, and the zoo could become an eco park, like in Buenos Aires in Argentina. That zoo did the same thing. So we are all in on making San Francisco eco park. So please take a look at that campaign. It's one that's another one that's very dear to my heart. Thank you for enabling us to make a real change there. And that's one to watch definitely in 2026. Mary, do you have anything to say about San Francisco Zoo?
Well, you covered it really well. The person that was the director for a time, Tanya,
Yes.
I understand that she was appointed, and it was like at a time when they were in like a upset, and so she was appointed, and then she wasn't the person who was right for the job, but she stayed in there as director for a very long time, and it just went downhill from there. So glad that we were successful to get her out. I'm really excited about this eco park idea.
Yes, yes, that's yeah, you're absolutely right, Mary. She was at a point at a time when actually a tiger had just escaped and tragically killed someone at the zoo. And since then,
Tatiana.
there's been, it's been unfortunately a case of more and more animal deaths from kind of negligence and crumbling infrastructure. We were very grateful to be part of exposing that and holding them accountable. So, yeah, really successful campaign. Again, driven by In Defense of Animal supporters. So, thank you for helping us to do that. Let's see. Oh man, there's been so much this year. So fur-free wins. This is something that I just, as a kid, this was one of my. I just couldn't believe that people were still wearing fur, and I was so shocked when I saw it, and I really had to, be brave to tell people about it who were wearing it. And a lot of people, they don't even realize it's real fur, especially if it's just a trim. So I learned to recognize it myself and then have conversations with people, which was not easy. But nowadays, we've had some wonderful wins this year. Not only I just couldn't believe this Vogue, which had been holding out forever. It had been really backing the fur industry with these, beautiful pictures and showing, oh, fur is so glamorous and elegant and everything it's really not. Like, just look at this poor little mink on the right. I mean, on the, in the cage here, they live in absolutely terrible, terrible conditions. They're denied everything that is natural to them. They are animals who live a lot of their lives in the water, they have none of that, and they're just kept in these tiny conditions. I've seen them myself. I've been to fur farms, and I've seen them. They're quite big animals. They're kept in very small cages, and they're just circling around and around and around and around and around. It's awful and completely inhumane and completely unnecessary. So we were delighted that Vogue finally went fur free. And then, not long after, the biggest fur producer in Europe, Poland, has also just banned fur farming. So amazing news for minks, for raccoon dogs, for all of the animals who are suffering on fur farms. We are just delighted. Again, something that you have made possible. Anything to add to that one, Mary?
Love it. In Poland, I remember that it's not right now, right? Because there's a lot of fur farms. So it's something like 27 or 28. I don't know which one it is exactly, but all fur farms have to be gone within those few years. So amazing. Hopefully we
Yeah.
can rescue as many of them as possible and get them into sanctuary. That's where we are now, right?
Yes, that's always the difficult part of the any ban like this. It comes with the, kind of the desperation from us, from people who care, to try and do the best that we can, and save those animals where possible. So similar with the South Korean ban on dog meat, which was passed, I think, early last year, January 2024.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's right.
yeah, I remember it well. I was just, yeah, again, just one of those moments
That was
I
a big one. Yeah.
in your life you'll like never forget. And again, in Defense of Animals, been working for over 30 years on that one. So really, it's in Defense of Animals supporters who have been with us, for a very long time, should be super proud of moments like that, because it really shows that there's, the culture change that's going on. And just as with South Korea and the dog farm ban and the phase out that's going through, we're working to try and rescue some of those dogs, as many as possible. But really, the most important thing is that the ban happens, because you put a stop to it, and then future generations of animals you're saving them from harm.
Mhm.
So it's a very wonderful thing.
Mhm.
Right. Let's see what we've got. So, lives saved, your compassion in action. So statistics, if you're going to speak about statistics, there's some pretty impressive ones. Just right here in the middle, you will see some very cute pictures of one of our cats, one of our dogs, and the team at IDA India in Mumbai. Um, they have been amazing partners with us for 2 decades, and thanks to you, they are able to spay and neuter and return 10,000 dogs and cats every single year. And that is phenomenal, but it's not just phenomenal work, it's absolutely essential work, because unfortunately when spay and neuter breaks down, there become conflicts. And that's what we've seen in Morocco and in Turkey. And without a proper spay and neuter program, which is the only thing that is effective for reducing numbers of animals and also reducing diseases like rabies, without that, everything breaks down. So and then people governments resort to killing, poisoning, roundups, throwing them into pounds, starving them there. It's crowding them in so that they kill each other. It's horrendous. So really, spay and neuter is the answer. I also want to say that's we've also been mirroring that in Mississippi. So at our Hope Animal Sanctuary, you've got a little taste of that there on the bottom right. So that's our wonderful Dol Stanley, who leads a lot of our work in Mississippi. She was the founder of our Hope Animal Sanctuary, which now is run by Sharon Stone. And we really have we're making a great impact there, and we are offering low and no cost spay and neuter surgeries to those people who cannot afford to do it, who are very loving guardians and want to do it but just lack the means. So thank you for subsidizing those. It's really incredibly important because every animal who is spayed or neutered means fewer homeless animals who end up in a terrible condition, in a terrible state on our doorstep in, in years to come. So yeah, thank you for making that possible. It's absolutely essential work. A bonus, we have a lobster here, a very rare orange lobster. Mary, do you recall the story?
Yep, his name is Jean-Claude Van Damme. Claude, like claw. Jean-Claude Van Damme. Um, Lobsters, I love lobsters. They are usually brown, right? So the pigments look like there's the blue and the orange mixed together makes the brown. So whenever we have the blue ones or the orange ones, it's something like one in some million chance that it happens, and we love it. So it really is great for getting people to look at the lobsters, be like, look, it's interesting looking, here it is. But ultimately, we would love to have lobsters no longer in supermarkets. They're sentient beings. They can feel pain. Um, and we're working on that. We have a alert open that's specifically for the removal of lobsters from supermarkets. So that's a really amazing campaign that I think is a difficult one, but I'm glad we're doing it.
Here, here. Well said,
Mm.
Mary. Yeah. The one fact I know about lobsters is that they lack like a pain shutoff. So yeah,
Shock. They don't go into shock. Yeah,
that's right.
that's
That's right. So, it's they, even though they don't look like us, they are just as deserving of our protections, and to live free from pain. So yeah,
Mhm.
thank you for sharing that wonderful story of Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Mhm.
I am going to race through the next section because we need to get to our questions and answers. I really want to hear from people and yeah, have a chance to show you our last video as well. I've got another one coming up. So that's who we were just talking about, and we're very happy to be a part of that rescue. Hope Animal Sanctuary, we've just been talking about that. So we've, rescued so many mistreated animals, so many abandoned animals. It's all thanks to you that we can do that. It's an area of the country that is very impoverished in parts, and it really lacks resources. So Hope Animal Sanctuary really is a shining beacon of light for animals, and they really have nothing else. So thank you for making that possible. It's absolutely essential. Some other of our cuties who we've been helping out. Poor Jackson, he was deliberately burned, and we fixed him up real good. And he, with his like lovely blue and brown eyes, he's real
All did
cute.
tell me about Jackson's rescue. I was able to write about Jackson a little bit, and what was incredible to me is that the owner, sorry, not owner, the supposed guardian, was trying to say that Jackson got attacked by a wild boar, and you can see by, the looking at it that that's not an attack from an animal. That's from someone pouring something hot or an acid or something on Jackson. So they did some really gentle hydrotherapy, which is the way to take care of burn wounds. And it took a long time, but she said Jackson was the sweetest, nicest, just like most loving dog ever. Was just so happy to be getting attention and healing, and I thought that was great. And the dog on the right, that one's name is Pipsqueak, and the rescuer's son ended up falling in love with Pipsqueak, and we have a photo of them together, like cuddling. It's great happy ending.
Those ears, I can't get over those ears. Come on, Pipsqueak, you are just too cute. Uh, okay. I don't think I'd be able to give up Pipsqueak either. All right. In Defense of Animals India, yes, we've spoken about that absolutely essential ABC work that they do, the animal birth control, and it has been under siege as well. So we've been kind of fighting to prove how important that work is elsewhere in India. There have been where so in Mumbai, things are working out very well. The population is under control, in large part thanks to In Defense of Animals supporters who are supporting this work to keep the population at manageable levels. And unfortunately, elsewhere in India, there's been calls for them to be killed. So IDA India in Mumbai is a shining light and shining example where we're able to say, hey, if you do it right, like we're doing it, then there's no problem. In fact, it's going to be much better for everyone. So there we go. Yes, here's some of our advocacy that we've done this year. So for Billy and Tina, sadly, we're still having to fight for them. They were transferred to the Tulsa Zoo. We will continue the fight there. Thank you for staying with us on that one. Also for Frankie the monkey, who is languishing in a pet store. Man, this is just like no place for a capuchin. And Indu at the Phoenix Zoo, we are out there in the field for these elephants, for capuchins like Frankie. Thank you for putting us out there with our, with our boards and our flyers. We will educate the world. It really makes a difference. Same here for cat torture. That was something that you really were very like supported us a lot on our cat torture work. So we are that's something we're fighting. I'm absolutely delighted to say that China has launched an official inquiry into this. And consider that at the start of the year they were blocking receiving our petitions. They actually returned them to sender, and they didn't want to meet with us officially. We did so. Yeah, we're delighted that we're getting traction there. Again, we passed so in West Hollywood we helped support a landmark live animal sales ban. Thrilled by that, and we're going to try and do the same in Anaheim and Pomona, where we've been active in the field. Again, Mongolia, we're showing what needs to be done for spay and neuter, humane management of homeless animal populations. Some of our work in South Korea, again, the ban passed last year, and we are now getting out as many animals as we can to loving homes, like Aurora here, who is on a dog meat farm. Okay, and we're trying to do the same in Hanoi. We've been working with Ricky Gervais. Thank you, Ricky. Many celebrities have now joined us. We are delighted to be able to count them among the supporters like you. Okay, Justice for Animals. Yes, amazing sentences this year for abusers. And yeah, like the highest prison sentence I've ever seen, 40 years for a kitten killer in Texas. Absolutely astounding sentences that we have never seen before. I really think that is a landmark. And I don't think anyone's going to be considering doing that for a very long time in future.
Right. I think that one was particularly to the point where we finally get to say, oh, that sentence actually does fit the crime. 40 years in prison makes sense to a person who would do such a thing. We end up with so many things where it's just a slap on the wrist, or it's just that doesn't fit the crime at all. So finally getting this is like gonna set a precedent, I hope, and we can move forward with it.
Yeah, well said. Well said, Mary. And with that, I'm going to actually end this slideshow there a little bit early, because I really want to do our Q&A. So, do we have any questions in the chat?
The chat has been very active. I haven't been able to keep up, but
There's been a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can answer.
We answered most of them. So Brittany wanted to know if we were doing anything on the EATS Act. So the answer is yes. We had an alert about that. We're updating it. We have to look forward to the new year. So we're going to have an updated EATS Act alert.
Mhm.
Um, has IDA done anything to bring about California laws? Yes. If there's a California law to do with animals, we have an alert. Uh, so I provided a link to that. Uh, Janet would like to know if Willie and Tina were moved from LA Zoo this year to Tulsa Zoo. Will Tulsa be on our 10 worst zoos list in 2026? I said, wait and see. January 13th, we launched 10 worst zoos. Uh, and then it gets a little more complicated. Bruce would like to know, is there any news update in preventing and petitioning the governor of San Francisco Zoo, California, in barring and preventing new pandas from being brought as new exhibits from the PRC? So yeah, the opposing the San Francisco Zoo is an ongoing campaign for us. We are doing everything we can. Uh, I don't know. And we linked our latest blog. So you can always check our website. We really work very hard to make sure that we post what we're doing there. It's a good place to check in with us and see. And to sign up for e-news on Friday, you'll get all of our alerts and the blogs about everything that we do. And Brittany's last question, anything about the Santa Barbara Zoo?
We haven't done a lot with the Santa Barbara Zoo during the last 10 years that I've been here. Um, I understand that our last elephant campaigner was, I think that the Santa Barbara Zoo might be, not all zoos are the same. And that's, I mean, no zoo can keep an elephant in like and meet their basic needs. I know that much. However, they do come on a sliding scale. We do try to work on the worst ones first. So that's our prioritization. And I do understand that Santa Barbara has not kind of tipped the scales for us, in at least in the time that I've been here, the last 10 years. But if you know anything, we are constantly getting in tips from people. If anytime you go to the zoo, like you can give us your report. Please just consider yourself a volunteer for In Defense of Animals and send us in, your photos. You're like, I'm a bit concerned about, I saw this and it doesn't seem right. Or, just whatever it is that you're concerned about. Send us your photos, send us your videos. We love to hear from you because you're our animal advocates in the field. You're able to be our eyes and ears. And we do a lot as a result of people calling in or emailing in. And we will always do our very best to support you if you have a campaign in your area. So, please get involved in local animal issues. We are here for you. We will support you. And we're very proud to do so.
That's actually happened quite recently. There's an email that came in. The person had uh, documented, they'd taken photos and sent to us a very passionate message of like, this is terrible. This is all the things that are going on. The photos were exactly what we need in order to show people like this is what's going on. And hopefully we're gonna run that alert in February, I heard. So stay in touch, stay tuned.
Yeah.
So it does happen. We'll get, messages from people. If you're able to give us, what's happening, then hopefully we can push it out into the world and our supporters will come to your aid too. Because
Yes,
they're good at that.
absolutely. This is really like a big collaborative effort. I like me, Mary, Bob, we are just animal people like you. The only difference is that we are lucky enough to that you enable us to do this every day and kind of follow our passion. And we really do work so hard to, for these animals. If you tell us about an animal, we will do our very best to fight for them. A lot of us are, we work very late into the night because we are just, you can't stop us. We're really, we won't stop until we get what the animals need. So thank you for making that possible. And I actually have a very special message from our team that I would like to show to you now. Let's see if I can do better than my last attempt at showing the video. Oh, hang on. I didn't share the audio again. Oh, I did. Okay. Here we go. So this was recorded by our staff. They are so grateful that you put them in the field doing all of these things and making these victories possible.
Thank you from the elephants. We spoke up for freedom, and now 40 exhibits are closed.
Thank you on behalf of the Point Reyes National Seashore Tule Elk. They have been freed from their fenced compound finally after years, and they are now healthier and happier and thriving like never before. And they thank you too.
Thank you from Carroll County, Mississippi at Hope Animal Sanctuary. In 2025, we've rescued so far 375 dogs, 98 cats, and we all want to thank you, the horses, the dogs, and the cats. Want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Last year, In Defense of Animals and our Goose Coalition worked to save geese from cruel cullings and exterminations nationwide. On behalf of geese throughout the entire country, thank you.
Thank you from the Farmed Animals Campaign. We spread the word to tens of thousands of people around the world that there is nothing humane without any animal farming. And the best thing that you can do for farmed animals and all animals and the planet is to live vegan and speak up. So thank you so much for your support.
Thank you from Freedom Farms. This year we opened hundreds of hearts to compassion here on the Central Coast.
Thank you for powering our international partnerships, which has rescued ponies, pigs, bobcats, chickens, dogs, cats, even rare fish from disasters in LA, Jamaica and the Philippines, and from the streets in Mongolia, Morocco and Turkey. Thank you. This year, you helped spay and neuter 10,000 animals in India alone, and rescue friends like Judy here from the meat trade in South Korea and China. Thank you for making compassion global.
Bay Area campaigns. One of our most pressing issues right now is the San Francisco Zoo, and we're working right now to turn it from a traditional zoo into a conservation-focused park. And we're doing that by doing community outreach, as well as by networking with people who have made that a reality, such as here in Echo Park, Buenos Aires, Argentina. So thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for your support.
This is Dahl Stanley with Justice for Animals campaign in Tallahatchie County, Mississippi. We've been serving this community and others for 32 years. We've helped horses, rabbits, dogs, cats, geese, you name it, all because you have helped us.
This year, In Defense of Animals fought to protect whales from fishing gear entanglements and vessel strikes. We are also continuously advocating for the captive cetaceans trapped at Marineland Antibes and Marineland Canada. On behalf of cetaceans everywhere, thank you.
Thank you from the beavers. Together we were able to raise enough funds to install a beaver flow device that saved a family of beavers in Vermont.
Thank you on behalf of Cats Everywhere. This year we hosted a memorial for cats who are the victims of online cat torture, and we also hosted a rally with experts in the field to explore ways to end this gruesome phenomenon worldwide. Thank you on behalf of Cats Everywhere.
Hi, I'm Dr. Marilyn Kroplik, President of In Defense of Animals. In 2025, you were unstoppable. Because of you, elephants made it to sanctuary, escaping the misery of zoos. Ill and abused dogs and cats were scooped off the streets of Mumbai, India, and treated in mobile clinics. We fought for wildlife and stood up in the courtrooms so animal cruelty victims could finally get justice. Because of you, justice has a voice now in Mississippi. You did that. You made compassion real. When you give, share, speak up, you are part of something powerful, a movement that says animals matter and cruelty ends here. So from the bottom of my heart, and on behalf of the lives you've touched, thank you. Stay loud, stay strong, stay compassionate. We've only just begun.
Thank you. I mean, yeah, that's really our key message right now is thank you for everything that you've done this year. It's been phenomenal. And from the bottom of our hearts, we are so glad to have you on our side, making all of this wonderful work possible. Whether you're, again, whether you're signing our alerts, whether you're a monthly giver, whether you make a one-off donation, whether you have remembered us in your will, it all makes a tremendous difference. If you're volunteering with us, all of it. So thank you for being part of our special community. Mary and Bob, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Thank you for coming,
Thank you everyone
everybody.
for being here. We'll follow up and give everybody links to everything where you can read more and take some actions yourself if you have not already. So thank you for being here and thank you for supporting us in 2025. We really appreciate it.
Hear, hear. Thank you from dog meat survivors like Judy. You literally saved her life. So thanks for making it possible for us to do even more in 2026. Thank you, everyone. Happy holidays.